Free to take any, there we go. All right. This is the first half of our meeting at 5:30, and we're here strictly to talk about Dodds Development, Dodds Park, Auburn Farms, the park on Locust Street. So we're focusing all of our discussion this first hour or so on that topic. I'd like to go around the room right now and just have introductions. Go ahead, Jerry.
We have secretary.
And Kara was gonna fill in for.
Do we want to have Maria take notes before we start? Would that help?
I mean, if she could take notes for, for this portion until Kara gets here. Kara was coming.
Okay,
And Terry.
sorry to interrupt, I just want to make sure.
No, that's fine. Very informal. Nobody's on Zoom. Okay, nobody's on Zoom. All right, I'd like to go around the room and have introductions first, since this isn't our normal board meeting, but we'll start in the back.
Dr. Don Furman, I've been a dentist in Canby for 32 years.
Great, thank you.
Ryan Potter, planning manager for the city.
Dustin Breeze, facilities lead man for City of Canby.
Maria Toledo, I'm the office secretary for Public Works.
Okay. We'll go over to Tara.
Tara Abbott, I just live in Auburn Farms.
Jerry Nolzine, public works director.
Bo Raymond, civil engineer with HHPR. My plans.
Spencer Pollock, Public Works Supervisor.
Barry Johnson, Chairman, Parks Board.
Kathy Ray Smith, member Park Board.
Chris here.
Oh, I don't want to also.
Doug Reichen, Parks Board.
Jim Davis, City Council.
Kara Hawkins.
Okay. Parks Board.
Parks Board. Sorry.
You're fine. And Kara, you're gonna be able
Yes.
to take notes.
Yes.
Before you were catching up, Maria's doing a little note taking, so.
Okay.
But, all right, so, this is, like I said earlier, this is a special discussion on the Auburn Farms Dodds Special Park that we're putting in on Locust. And so we're here initially to discuss this. Bo has done some preliminary plans. We were talking playground. Initially, when we had our meeting before, we were talking the entire park area and things that we would like to see: location of restrooms, the walkways, green space, covered gazebos, that type of thing. So we pretty much put that to bed, but we didn't have a feel on the covered playground structures, what we'd like to see, and we wanted to get some more input from the neighborhood. So that's what we're here to do now. And so maybe a little background.
Yeah, we're to meet our July deadline, Bo here with HHPR is under the gun to get this figured out. Right now, he's working on the rest of the design we've been working on, but the playground is kind of a component you need to have addressed, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I met with you guys last time, we were proceeding toward this 60% design. So at 60, we were at a 30, call it, now we're at a 60. So I incorporated as many of the comments as I could for the general site layout. But I think last time I left you with, here's a million different playground things. If you guys want to look through them and circle things you really like, get back to me. As you guys can tell, it's there's 100 different vendors with 100 different types of things. So this was kind of taking what we heard you saying and trying to do the best we could with what we could find in the area. But as I move, the next step would be moving to 90%. And so 90% is kind of a permit ready level. So that's the city will look over it, planning will look over it. And then the next step after that would be put it out to bid for construction. So we're kind of approaching that point where I can do all the site stuff. So I think we're at the point now where the site itself is probably not going to change much. So I can move forward with that, but eventually we do need to fill in this triangle with exactly what we want. So that's kind of an update of where we're at.
So Bo's here, here's our opportunity, Barry, for you and your team to make recommendations for this, so.
Well, yeah, and if anybody had any, feelings, drawbacks and some of the equipment shown, we sent this out, I sent this out to really everybody, 2 weeks ago with, information from Jerry of what's available. It was a big package, a lot of things to go through. I don't know if anybody had a chance to go through there and pick it apart, but Bo and his team, these guys do a lot of playgrounds and that's their business. So, in looking at this, I think they incorporated a lot of the things we were talking about. One of the things I know that we were highlighting, we wanted some things that were ADA applicable. And I see the merry-go-round, and I would assume the seesaw here down in the bottom corner might be ADA compliant, and the swings, yeah, the swings. So I know there's some things in there that they've taken into consideration for ADA. So I'm going to kind of ask Tara, from Auburn Farms, and she's had a chance to visit with some of the neighbors and whatever. What is your feeling, maybe as to what is shown? I thought at one time, these little enclosed houses was it was an issue because of maybe creepers hiding about, I don't know.
I don't think they're an issue, but other people feel that
Okay.
way, so.
So, anyways, do you have any comments or criticism or ideas that you're not seeing here?
No, I mean, the thing that I asked about, like the colors, like making it feel cohesive, like this, I like all these parts, but it kind of feels like it's just a mishmash of playground equipment, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not in a bad way, but if we're putting in something nice and new, like making it feel like it was thoughtfully put together. Not that, I'm not saying there was no thought.
well, I know,
I know, like, if you did this, you do more of the blues and yellows.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I know at the park we finished on the south side, wasn't that South Locust Street?
Oh,
South Locust Street is very color coordinated, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you go over there, I mean, it is coordinated
mhm.
and it does all look the same. So I don't know, Bo, if that's.
I don't know that it's like super important, but
No,
it was just a thought when I was looking at it. and-
Yeah,
Yeah, so the landscape architect lays out this stuff, I here to represent the project as a whole, but I could definitely see what, I think he was trying to find products that match,
Mhm.
like that, the ADA accessible. There's only one brand that does that, right? So somebody, I think where he was going with it was some of the, especially like in the swing set won't match. So there's so many things that I think we're not, I think when you do a small park with not very many pieces,
Mhm.
it's pretty easy because you're just like, I want the big one, I want the
Yeah.
small one, you're done.
Yeah.
I think this has a lot of different little pieces, so I think
Right,
more than anything, we're trying to get a feel for like, do you like this general piece? And I think he was just going for, once you pick out the playground and the ADA accessible merry-go-round, I think that his pattern was just bright colors at that
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because you're not gonna find 12 different pieces.
Right.
And we also have a budget is the other piece of it where a lot of these playground, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars for a playground. And so a lot of it, like, you go online and it looks, wow, this looks really pretty. When you start getting to it, it's like,
Mhm.
it's not so pretty.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I'll pass this on to say, hey, maybe we can find a vendor that offers most of this stuff and kind of, I'll see if I can do that. And then with whatever other comments you guys give me, I'll try to recreate this same exact map again. And then, because like I said, we have, ideally if we're going, we probably have a month to get to 90, right? And that gives you a couple weeks to chew on it, finalize it for the meeting, so I think I'll try to work on getting you an updated map of this once I hear all the comments tonight. And then, but reality, eventually we have to just say, you know, looks good.
What else from Auburn Farms was that kind of,
Oh.
you liked all of this? but
Yeah,
just-
I think it's got stuff for little kids and big kids, so.
Did it come from your group or was it maybe from our board, the reluctance on having these,
Your boards.
our board?
Mhm.
And I think one of the things, well, this Play Dozer Play World, I mean, I think if I remember correctly, people were saying, are there more options instead of these covered buildings? Are there more options, like these Play Dozer things, like an open concept? Climb in and, you know, and still. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think we left in that package of like the 50 different things, I think we shared some other options, I think. You know, I was hoping to hear back
We'd be able
on
to-
what options, yeah, I was hoping that it would be kind of like a menu and somebody would circle all the things they wanted, but I know that's probably hard to get everybody to agree on the exact same stuff and.
Well, it was a lot to absorb and look
Yeah.
at too.
Right.
And that's kind of, we're at the same spot too, it's like. There's so many vendors, there's so many different things, and then you get to price and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's almost
I guess that's how I
overwhelming
felt
for us.
looking through, I'm like, well, I don't know what the budget,
Yeah, it's
I
almost
don't,
overwhelming for us, so.
yeah, no, that should have a job, just designing them.
Well, so basically more color coded and then something different than the two house one. the
Yeah,
two
so
opposed
Well,
ones.
we'll still discuss, I mean, Tara doesn't have an issue with that.
I mean,
Let's
there
see
at
what-
other parks that we've been, and I've never felt any sort of way at any county park. I feel like they're always clean and safe and perfect, so,
I think
yeah,
my thought on these two is they're pretty small, they're not big enough for
yeah,
like,
they're
well, I
little,
mean, I've been,
Oh,
I
like,
would.
you would have to crawl down to it.
Yeah, I've never seen a homeless person, period,
Yeah.
for one, it's, let alone sleeping in the park, so.
We had,
But yeah, so I think they were relatively small, was another thought.
Yeah.
It
So
would be.
my concern, because I was one of the ones that was concerned, is I was a victim advocate for the DA's office for 20 years. I worked in the juvenile department, so I worked with victims of juvenile crime. My concern is juvenile on juvenile crime in these little guys. And I can tell you that we had plenty of those cases. So, I mean, I would personally say no because of my experience. But that's the information I have, and if we decide otherwise.
I could looking for more open ones, I could also, I mean, you know, I think the dimension, I mean, like, these are literally for tots, like,
They're small.
yeah, I mean, you know, like. Yeah, I mean,
If you'd seen what I'd seen,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be questioning, but
but yeah,
I totally get that you haven't, and it's fine. I don't, yeah. I'm much more comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
If, I mean, in looking at these, you know, in looking at this rendition here. Can we pretty much buy into all the structures that are shown, and if not, if you were to change anything? Which would it be, so we could maybe give Bo a little, you know,
So Landscape Structures is the primary vendor for these items? Is that what I'm seeing there? Okay. I'm assuming that most of these are from them, they would have some sort of cohesive color pattern options.
I'd have to check a little deeper into their packages, but I think it's just kind of it feels like on other parks that I've done, this one feels
Oh.
like,
They go back. Like that, see that structure, to the left, the one that, yeah, that one. Like that's open, but still has
Oh, yeah.
like the little seats,
Yeah,
would that be more? I mean, I don't really know what you do with
Yeah,
it,
it's
so I
just
sit
pretty-
on it.
yeah.
They would climb on
Climb
top,
on
yeah.
top of it.
That was one thing I was thinking was,
I-
yeah,
Believe
something.
me, they'll climb that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
well, that one's kind of,
Yeah, what's the side Oh, see, that's open.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that one does either.
It's like a tree house.
Yeah, it does look like a tree house.
And these are just ones that are on the website of the vendor that Bo has presented.
Yeah, it's good that you keep flashing them up there, because people,
Yeah.
you know.
You can kind
I
of see
feel like
the-
I tried opening that thing you sent and I couldn't get it.
Right,
I could only see this thing.
yeah,
you can kind of see though, it doesn't, nothing feels like a, I know exactly what you want, but nothing feels like
Oh.
a package, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it kind of feels like everything looks bright and colorful, but they're not like.
Yeah.
They didn't.
And
pick
I think
like a-
probably like once it's all in.
Yeah, they
you'll
didn't
notice.
pick like a color scheme for their,
is there anything like, I mean, or how do people feel about, say, Northwoods Park? The climbing big rock that's in there, not the little,
Oh.
not the little turtle or the frog or whatever, but the
Oh,
climbing
yeah.
rock with the toad, and then over at
Legacy has one too.
Legacy has the climbing rock.
So what if it was like that had little like climbing holes on it, like a little rock wall? So we have two of those big rocks that they love to climb, but
Yeah.
we don't have a rock
Yeah.
wall anywhere, so
Right.
that could be, I mean, I know the Nick ones that are just tall and skinny and then you go on one side, Aurora City Park has one. It's just, and the kids love it and like crawl through it, but it's just a freestanding wall with the holes on it, but
We could replace that with, is there anything else?
Not on this one that I saw for the, because
So a
If I'm-
freestanding wall instead of one of these.
yeah.
if I'm looking at this right, Bo, these specific structures are meant for the.
the
two-
top, the
tots.
yeah, the top.
Smart. So you've got everything else laid out except for the toddler stuff.
It looks like, I mean, you know, like, unless there's other pieces people didn't like, but I think the two pieces that we're talking about are these, little houses, toddler houses. So yeah, this kind of stuff, like that green one. It also feels like you wanna put something in there that kids like too,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
I mean,
but
it's
they-
just that, I don't know, is
Yeah.
that fun for anybody, you know?
Right.
Well, can I see that, the one with the picnic table looking thing, the little green one? Yeah, I mean, kids will make all kinds of fun out of that. I mean, they've got imagination and they're a drive to play and make up that.
It matches the dozer.
It does.
But yeah, I feel like 3 feels like a lot for the little dot area, but that's just,
It's the same manufacturer.
Well, I really like the play dozer, you know, I mean, I like the other things too, but I understand the concern. That maybe they wanna have open, but I think the climbing, that button. But I think that a climbing structure would be like a climbing wall or that.
Yeah.
The rock with all the little different holes on it, I mean, then. I know when I would take my grandkids to Northwoods, they would always
Oh, I
go to
love it.
that big rock with the little hole, the cave cut in out of it, so. I mean, they climb and then they jump off it, so.
I hadn't even thought about a rock, well, like a climbing thing like that until you mentioned it. But yeah,
So when we able to get the climbing, we'll take a look at that, so everything has like a fall zone, right? So by the time you get that
Okay.
climbing wall in there, it might take up
gotcha.
this space, right? I mean, fall zone on this versus the climbing area probably a little bit different, right? So if you, I can definitely piece out one of those. Do we wanna try to find one more toddler structure that we like too, that I can see if I can throw it in there?
So we have the 2 houses that are toddler things that were,
Looks sounds like going away.
I mean. And so those are the 2 things so then the play dozer is really the only toddler thing we have left, or well, this cozy dome looks like I don't know if that's.
And that was the same type of questions, I had an issue too.
I don't,
It's so small, I
is
can't
pretty
envision
small.
somebody being there.
I don't think the cozy dome would be an issue.
He had one, he brought up that was similar to that was just more rope and stuff. Did you see that one, Spencer? It was similar to that, same size, but it was all open. It was just like rope. I just saw you go by it. I don't know where it was. Yeah, right there. See
Yeah.
that one?
Something like
Would
this.
that be better than the cozy dome?
Yeah, then they could climb up the outside and,
You know, you-
or that little yellow one just down, right there. That's more
I
open.
get this.
My only thought would be all the elementary schools have that same
The little spider
yellow,
thing.
no, the yellow
Oh, the
one.
yellow thing,
Yeah.
okay.
But is that, one a toddler size? It's like mini.
I mean, yeah, I can look more into it, but it kind of looks like it's still.
Well, of the items pictured here, how many of these are geared towards toddlers? Is it just these three at the bottom, or?
Well, I mean, if you kind of look at it, it kind of seems like those four, really, that green thing's pretty toddler-like.
The
Yeah,
cozy,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
cozy dome?
I mean, the balancing things probably aren't so much toddler, the other stuff is pretty big,
Yeah.
that spinner thing just makes you sick, so.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if we, yeah, I could take another shot at, I could talk to Jeff and take a shot at getting rid of the houses, trying to find something.
Well, can you go back to the picture that you were on before this one? Yeah, that.
It's bad.
What about the thing with the slide on it? Yeah, that. It kind of has
Tree?
a little, I mean, it's kind of multifunctional or that.
So that would give you, there's a slide on the dozer, so that'd give you 2 slides for toddlers. And then, looks like there's 3 slides on the bigger.
So the music store, does that actually have instruments in it? Do we have a musical type of,
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
so that has drums and
Drums, maybe some bells or something.
rain wheel, 2 drums, bell, and 2 chimes with strikers? Well, I kinda like that.
Tara, of all the, I mean, with your kids and going to all the parks that you've been in, you know.
These
what-
are cool, but they don't get played with. They wanna climb on something, like even this brand new Wilsonville Park we went to has like a actual digital game you play
Yeah.
and kids aren't using it.
No.
But it has this epic playground in this tiny little spot that they put in there. I don't even know how they did it.
So,
It's pretty cool, but maybe like a little, those toddler swings, it's like a little freestanding. It's got like 2 poles and then like a wide flat swing. Have you seen this?
Oh,
I was trying to get like another small kid item that's not just another structure.
are you thinking of rock though, too? Did we have any?
Oh yeah, I just didn't know if that was good.
No, I think we mentioned the rock, the climbing rock, yeah,
Okay.
or the wall, rock or
Or the
wall.
wall, yeah,
Yeah.
Rock or wall, one
Yeah.
or the other.
something to climb.
Is the fall zone the same, like if the rock wall came off of the big structure? You know how like sometimes they're attached to them, does that change it?
I have to, I don't know, I'm
Okay.
not sure. I think each one would come with its own designated fall zone, unless it was built the same.
And also for, you know, the little kids, I mean, of course, the swings could be, you know, I mean, that's a toddler wise, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's,
Do we have on there, do we have a baby swing thing?
I think there's, in this picture, I think there's one.
So if there's only gonna be four swings,
Looks like there's 6 swings plus the ADA swing.
I always.
oh, in the picture, there's only 4.
Yeah, I think that's just showing.
Oh, okay, well, if there's
Okay.
6, then yeah, one could be ADA, one could be a baby swing,
Yeah,
and then the other 4 are just regular.
when we were in Arizona, there was a really cool swing that had a seat for an adult or a larger child and then a smaller child baby on the other side. So if you were swinging and pumping and your little child is right there facing you.
Those are fun.
Yeah, I mean, I did it with my grandson and it was a blast, and then my granddaughter did it with my grandson.
Yeah,
Really
those are
enjoyed
fun.
it. Yeah,
So you've seen
And I feel like,
those too.
there's one in Oregon City also, and the kids can do it together, like
Yeah.
2 8-year-olds can get on it and do it together, and I think they're really fun. I mentioned that at the very beginning, but
Yeah.
I didn't know how many swings we would have.
Have we, I mean, we've given you something, is there?
Yeah, like I said, you can see it just, it won't end.
Well, and that's
Made a
what
decision.
we need,
Yeah, I know.
we need to get
How's
it
this not
to
so much
end.
job?
We need to get enough information so that Jerry, Spencer, Dustin, and you can get it to 90%, so we can feel good, so we can start in July, right?
I would really like to, yeah.
And so we'd like to,
Let me take another quick shot at it, I think, yeah, it's really tough to find
What's that?
one product that does.
I imagine the dinosaur you have it.
Oh, yeah. And
But
why
there's
is
all
it
different types of
16,000
animals. Cause you can climb on this dinosaur, right?
Mhm.
The
Oh, yeah.
prices on these are
Yeah, as you see.
$10,000 for a tree stump?
well, yeah, I wonder what that structure at Northwoods, that big blob, I mean, that got a lot of use. What the heck did that cost? I wonder.
Oh, we'd have to look, but it wasn't cheap, yeah.
I mean, what's it made of?
Things were a lot
It's
cheaper
like-
there too.
It's,
I don't know, I don't say fiberglass, but it's like this weird hollow,
it's not concrete,
no, cause you can knock on it.
Right.
and you can-
yeah,
But the kids love it. I
They
know,
do.
I've
Yeah, they
been there
do.
for like 2 hours. I'm always amazed.
Any other comments? Anybody have anything else they might, that they don't wanna see? And boy, I know you have no coverage drive, I see written,
That was-
no coverage structure.
That was mine.
That was yours. Someone could hide in. I think we pretty much got a good beat on what we're looking at. So does anybody else have any love to see, don't wanna see, any more comments in regards to the playground structure, I guess? Okay, I think we've heard, okay, now if we can, you have comments? Dustin? No?
No comments from me.
And this will actually come with this shape thing on top.
Yeah,
Sweet.
so I think what I'm gonna do is ideally, you can't match it all, because I just don't think it's gonna happen, but you could try to match the big kid area.
Mhm,
And you
yes.
can match the little kid area. I don't know that you're gonna get that, but I think bright is bright and.
Yeah.
I think finding the swing that offers normal swings plus, I grew up with one of those ones where you look at the basket,
Yeah,
you
they're
look at each
really
other.
fun.
We used to be able to tip our whole swing set.
Okay, no.
But
Oh,
anyway,
those ones,
yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, but try to find one that has standard swings plus big swing plus this swing plus a ADA swing. I don't know if there's one product that has all that, so like that might be tricky to find. I think re-looking at that green thing and trying to find something that's less covered is what I'm hearing, and then a rock wall type structure. I think I like the climbing wall better than I like just the rock. The rock is
Yeah.
cool when you have when you do like a nature theme
Yeah.
or the dinosaur theme.
Right, okay.
I think
And we have 2 of those big rock
we rock it
structures
out.
here already.
Well, that would be cool. if we
Climbing wall,
ever-
they would like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's some sort of climbing.
We don't have,
Yeah, we don't have that.
So I could look at that
It
and
needs to be about 20 feet.
yeah, in the toddler area.
And I would say, I mean, if you're looking at all the swings, like an ADA one and then the mommy and me style one over an infant one, because the kids can sit with you in the other one.
Right.
A lot of kids use the ADA one. when
And
it's
it
not
might be
being
2
used.
different structures. It might just be
Yeah.
the standard,
right.
like 2 normal swings
Mhm.
and then with like the but you know, you see the baby ones, it's just all you do is change the seat.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
it's changing.
And then maybe the other one is this, you know, the one that you're talking about where you face each other and,
Mhm.
yeah, I think we'll take another quick shot at this, with what we're saying, like, in the meantime, if anybody finds something they love and everyone votes on it and loves it, just send it my way and we'll definitely put it in there. Because like I said, the most we're doing is just kind of poking and thinking, well, we think we'll like this, you know,
Yeah,
and then it comes back to price too, so I think we're getting close, but you can see by these meetings, you could go forever.
Oh,
yeah.
and ever and ever, cause it's,
So it's what I'm hearing is we haven't decided on anything. You're gonna come back and say, do this all over again, or we move?
I think it sounds like you, in general, you like the kind of things we have here, so if there's like anything on this upper right side, something we kind of liked it just would be, can I find a more cohesive color scheme,
Well,
right?
what I think we'll do is Bo can get something together, we'll get it to Barry, he can send it out to the group. Now that we know what we're kind of looking at, maybe you guys can comment.
yeah, and I mean, from
If
what I
we need to have
hear,
another meeting, we could, but maybe we could just comment as a group by email.
yeah, I would say probably at least 75-80% of this is agreed upon.
I agree.
And I just want you guys all to be warned that this ADA merry-go-round gets wild. So when you take your grandkids there, kids get drugged around, like they just put one in this Wilsonville one, but it's turf. So it's softer when you're
That was gonna be.
fly and
my
get drugged
question.
around, cause they go really fast.
Make sure the floors are right, the padding.
So,
ground-
Yeah,
The ground padding.
I mean, the kids love it, but just know that,
I agree, I
Kids get-
saw, they have one in Rockaway where we have our other house, and, I think it's ironic that it's ADA for as wild as
it's
it
crazy,
gets.
yeah, but they love it.
So add a couple more of those.
I
Yeah.
didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't see any ADA kids using it, but the other kids.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think the one, yeah, I think the one of the mothers that I talked to has 2 children that are in wheelchairs and you're able to wheel up on.
Right, I
they liked
mean,
it,
look,
but,
I think we should have it,
yeah,
but
well,
it's
it's
just
like,
crazy that it's safe.
I know.
I don't think it says safe. It's-
Yeah.
well, it's like,
It's not right.
It's-
Playground
You get hurt on anything.
Yeah.
it's not like the old merry-go-rounds that are raised off the ground and you could get pulled underneath.
I mean, honestly, I think the one on Maple Street is a little
Yeah.
less stressful than these. Cause these ones just get whipping, and because you're on the ground while you're doing it, they can get going real fast. I
And-
think they're great, but just know that they,
I think we decided on turf for the,
oh, like, okay,
Yeah,
not the
true.
regrind stuff or.
no, I think we decided on. turf.
Oh, okay, then yeah, that was great, the Wilsonville one, they could fly and roll.
So it
and
will
was
look like,
okay.
it will look like grass.
Yes, okay, then I think it'll be great.
Okay, yeah, I think, I think we're pretty close to being there. You know, with the comments and then you made some notes and
Yeah,
you'll change that and send any upgrades to Jerry and then Jerry will send it to me and I'll send it to everybody else. And then we can, unless somebody doesn't wanna put their stamp on, we don't have a quorum right now anyway, so
But this is
I can't vote on it. We
good,
can't
this is
vote on
good,
it.
then we can,
So what is the drop dead deadline that this has to be done if we want in July?
so tell me what is July to you, what does that mean?
July is, we'll have a new budget and we'd like to start on it as soon as we have the full funding for this project. So
July, you wanna be under contract with the contractor,
it'd be nice, yeah.
so.
Don't you wanna be moving dirt then?
Oh.
I would like.
Ideally, we'd like to have mobilize in and start excavating July 1.
Right.
Or July 1.
So how long does it take you guys to get under contract?
We gotta go through 2 council readings and a 30-day waiting period, so we'd have to hit,
May 7th for, taking it to council for contract,
so we, yeah.
May 7th,
joining council.
so it's final bid docs.
Yes,
Yeah, we'd have to have an advertised bid and all that. I think we're already,
we're
I
getting
don't-
close.
yeah, we're getting close. It depends on how much.
How long do you think the bid process needs to be open for bid? 2
So
weeks
you're
or 3
saying,
weeks?
May 17th is when you take the you don't have to be bidding by then, right?
Yes, that's when bids would have.
Bid
to be in.
opening, we'd have to,
Bids would have to be in by then,
Bid would be.
so then you got 30 days for bidding, right? Or
Yeah.
probably, so then you're back at, April, right?
Yeah.
You say May 7th?
right now, I
What's
mean,
the
so-
Yeah.
So
But
you're
it's
April
just-
7th,
You
April
do a
7th?
30-day bid.
it's up to you, I mean, most of my projects get 30 days.
Yeah, 30-day bid, and then what we could do is ask council to declare an emergency. And that shaves the 30-day period off of the, we could just do 2 readings, then you could get it done in 1 month through council and get a contract approved.
So you
Otherwise, if they don't do it, it just puts us out till August.
So, yeah, so April 7th is not gonna happen, what is it, today, March 20th? Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're pushing, no matter what, even how fast, I mean, there's a lot of work to be left done, you know? So, I mean, I think if you cut, you got May, June, you got 2 months here, so if you cut that down to 1 month, you're saying maybe, right? So that would give me to May 7th.
Can you make that?
Rock and roll, yeah.
We just gotta, what we gotta do is we just gotta do whatever we can do to try to meet that deadline. Right, Barry?
That's right.
I mean,
Well, we did also talk at one time about leaving some of these spots vacant and then put them in later.
No.
You mean in here?
Yeah, in the playground.
Yeah, I think I would think we'd like to complete that.
the biggest thing we can't miss, Bo, is the construction window.
Mhm.
You know, we gotta have all the excavating done before it
Yeah,
starts raining.
it's also a big project too,
It's
this is not a
huge.
small park.
And the building permits might take 6 to 8 weeks with the county.
Yeah, it just feels like you're.
We do what we can do. I know every time we push to get these in, by the time you go through all the process, it ends up a whole other budget cycle, but I wanna have it done in this budget cycle coming.
I'm gonna push, I'm just
Okay.
thinking all the, like you said, review, you know,
Well, Ken,
decisions,
when you say want to be done in this budget cycle, I mean, that takes you to 2026, right?
Yeah, I mean, we started in July. It's a huge project, Larry. This is a huge project.
So,
That's why I wanted to be started by July, so we could get the dirt work done, they could get all the.
are we saying that it wouldn't be done before the end of the year? Well, I mean, that's just me,
No, I know.
I mean, it's a,
We gotta do what we gotta do.
it's a $3 million project to take, you know, they're gonna have to, if it depends on if they can get supplies, they gotta. I wanna get started on this as soon as I can. As soon as we can.
How old will your kids be by then?
I know, they're like, when is it gonna go in? How old am I gonna be?
You got a prefab bathroom to get there, you got all the utilities, you got that splash pad, I mean, you got a lot, again, getting them here. Or, you know, even a contractor order them now, you know, I mean, that, like, there's, I mean, I'll design as fast as we can, right?
It doesn't even get a design fest, it's gonna take time to build this park. So, we just want, our goal was to get under construction in July.
Right. When,
So,
I'd like to be moving dirt or something by July 1. To see something going on.
So May 7th is the goal to finish the plan, is that?
Well, it sounds like April 7th would be
Better.
half, or would have, I mean, to get, if you backtrack from July, I'd have to be done in two weeks, 100% done, which is easily, it's impossible, no matter how hard I work.
Well, I mean, we're not far off in here. Can we get modifications? I mean, I don't wanna.
the one thing I don't wanna rush is the design.
Right.
Because that will hold us up on the other end, so I'd like to just keep moving. We give Bo information in a timely manner,
Right,
like when he has questions, we all work out hard to respond and fast.
right,
And we keep this thing moving and we do the best we can.
right.
We work as hard as we can at it to get this thing done.
Is everything else besides the playground equipment?
Can you guys don't pick up?
He's working on the rest,
Well,
so
let's just walk through it real quick, that's the piece. So this is the overall plan set. You want to
Okay, yeah, that's what
not thumb through this. So general notes. So this is existing additions and demo. So in here, you have the construction call-offs. So this is pretty much,
Now, Bo, each of those, I couldn't really see it real well on this copy, but each of those where you have two tables and a little, that is a gazebo, that's a covered
Yep.
gazebo.
correct.
So you have like 1, 2, 3 of those in this part?
Correct.
And what about these singles? Just tables?
Those are just tables.
Okay, so we have 3 gazebos, alright, then we have the green space.
Do we need the storm?
Yeah, so let's keep going, and I was gonna follow up with it.
Okay.
An email to you. So I think. So when we get to the storm, so what we did is. I think keep going, I don't know if I can even share it with this. So that's your frontage improvements were pretty much designed. This is dimensioning plan. So that's just scoring dimensions, so we're there on that.
Can I ask you a question on that one, slide down one? That circle to the top left over there, did you say, is that a splash pad?
Yeah,
Okay,
All
So-
flush mounted stuff.
yeah, so I need to do a little bit more work on that. So grading, you can kind of see the contours.
Yep.
So I'm okay with, I like to have more storm. I hate ponding, I hate. So the way that we have the storms, it generally follows what the site likes to do today, which is kind of shed toward that ditch line on the bottom of the page.
Okay.
And what I did is I put some little catch basin inlets by things. Like if you imagine all that water's gonna sheet flow across, but could it get stuck at side, things settle, so I put a little catch basin there. Getting rid of storm is, if the city says, get rid of it, sure. And I designed it this way because I think it's the best opportunity to make sure there's no little ponding or no,
Gotcha.
I mean, if this was like
Ooh,
my money and my.
Marshy soccer field.
Yeah, exactly. This is my money, my house, my whatever. I would want it to drain really well. And so we tried to grade it to drain. But yeah, right now you could eliminate a lot of the storm. But then when it gets all down in the bottom of that ditch there.
Yeah.
And so then if you didn't want a backbone, then you would have it be in the ditches, and then it would have to like culvert across. Eventually you gotta pick it up somewhere, or you're just saying it fully infiltrates in those ditch
It's
lines.
just like 30 feet of sand there.
Yeah, and
That's
so,
why I
yeah.
just wanted to ask about it. We don't have,
yeah,
My question is, I grew up just a couple blocks from here, and growing up there, no matter what rainstorm it was, even if I rode my dirt bike or something on the grass, Dad never, and he was particular on his
Yeah.
grass, we never sunk in, I never had any issues, and it was just a couple blocks over, so
Yeah.
that was my question.
yeah, so I don't have the, what happens if I don't put the storm in and then it is
Yeah.
marshy,
Yeah.
people point fingers at it.
we'll follow up with you on that.
But yeah, that one's up to you. I do think you have to have storm in the parking lot. So yeah, you could eliminate all the storm, other than the parking lot storm,
Yeah.
and then you would just, you would say that your sidewalk area and all that, none of that's gonna be treated or, it's managed, right? Any,
We just want to look at kind of when you get that, some of the stuff we might, if we go over budget, we could look at. You know.
storm pipe's $100 a foot, so.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes into play, is it, the city would also have to say that, like, none of that stuff has to go through your drywall, right?
Mhm.
Cause you're saying it infiltrates through the.
Yep.
So I'm cool with it, I just do not call me if there's a pond.
Don't, I get it. You've been very clear.
Bo, is that rectangle at the top of the parking lot, is that the restaurant? The
Right there, yeah.
license, oh, it's not in the, that's here,
It's right.
Yeah, we had to
Okay.
move it
alright,
because of grading issues.
okay, got it.
Which is kind of nice, because when the kids wanna run, go back
Right.
to their mat and running.
I liked it better actually over there too.
That does,
And
yeah.
separate it a little bit
Like,
better.
yeah,
Yeah,
And you're also worried, talking about people doing bad things.
Yeah.
If you're next to the parking lot
Yeah.
with the mat, you're gonna be doing
And a
bad.
bigger mechanical room in the back, splash pad controls in the back of it.
Yeah, so that's what we're showing. So there's just details to figure out, like, how to, the math behind those and the sizing behind those. And there's just,
is the one over at Legacy, is that a single stall or is that two stalls? Two stall, is that what this will be, or is this? single?
This is two.
This is two?
This will mirror, the one in
Legacy.
community.
No, community.
Oh, nice.
The only problem with the one in community, the one over by the garden, the mechanical room in the back is so small, you can't hardly do any work. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's kind of where they give you these cut sheets and it's like, I'm
Yeah,
not a rocket science. How do you get it all in there and does it work? And so there's just some stuff to figure out. What's that? Can you zoom in on that little note there? Yeah, what does that say? These are notes to you.
Drinking.
Drinking fountain?
Oh, okay, so on the drinking fountain, it sounds like you guys have good infiltration, so we'll just have the drinking fountain drain underneath and infiltrate. Cause the wastewater usually goes to sanitary on the drinking fountain.
Yep.
It doesn't get recycled, right? So it needs, so on this one, we'll just have it go to like some sort of under drain.
drain off.
Yeah, cause that'll
Yep.
save you money so that you don't have to connect over to the
It's
sanitary.
like a frost-free hydrant or something where they drain it.
Yeah,
Are those the ones with the dog fish? too?
yeah, we'll get to those details too. So this kind of stuff is civil, this is my wheelhouse, like paving, striping, curbs. Those are your standard details for the city stuff.
All of our design standards.
Yeah, for your frontage improvements, right?
Yep.
So ADA ramp, that sort of thing. So this gets into your dry well, these are your storm details, but yeah, it sounds like some of those, maybe if you don't, so what I was gonna do, Jerry, is I was gonna take the grading plan and kind of show you the contours and where things are draining, and I was gonna kind of show you, highlight which ones could easily, just my methodology behind it, and if you
Okay.
guys say, hey, you don't need it,
Yeah, we just wanna keep, not big valleys, easy to mow,
yeah.
keep it.
No,
as
we,
flat
right
as
now,
that.
just sheet flow is at like a gentle 2%, right? It's
To
very
the
nice.
south.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's just, I always get nervous when you get next to like, right there, you have
We'll
you have a lot of
We'll have
asphalt, other stuff that
we'll have a long discussion over that and get you an answer on that.
Okay. This gets into the details of the actual, the equipment, so all these cloths tell you where to go for the equipment, and these will be updated. Then that's details for the playground turf to the left there, and then also your basketball court, how to stripe it, and your.
And the turf doesn't have a drainage system?
It does,
under?
it
Okay,
does.
so that will be.
That's
connected
another
anyways.
piece,
Okay, yeah.
but if you're saying that you don't need one,
We need it under the turf.
okay,
We have to have it under the turf.
so then so you would at least have one backbone going all the way there, so
Okay,
that gives you that, so then if there's other opportunities to connect.
Yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't want to risk that.
okay,
Yep.
and then this gets you to the parts for the, this is all about the water.
The
splash pad.
basketball court, will that be like a standard half court
Yep,
kind of with a 3-point?
yep, and then you can see the striping on it right there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is your planting, so another place to save money, or what we listened to you is you said you wanted no planting on the upper side, if you scroll back.
Farmlands.
Pretty big, that's the,
Because we don't know what's gonna go over there, and you could plant that later.
Right.
the other thing we need to really look at, put in the specs too, we've had problems with, is the surface for the splash pad and the basketball court. Like a good broom finish or an architectural exposed that's not slick.
So basketball court is.
It's a fine line, because you don't want them chewing
Yeah.
their feet off, but something that kids aren't gonna, and it's the,
And this is only, the splash area is just like a ground mounted.
they're all, there's nothing sticking up.
They're just shooting on it.
Yeah, and the kids seem to like it
Yeah,
just
I
as
mean, the
good.
one
Yeah.
in Westland, I think is just cement.
Yep,
That
that's what-
just, that
This will be
And-
ready.
Yeah, but we did talk about the finish was one that was something else on my list of like, do we have a a spec from one of the ones you guys like, or.
I like architectural exposed that we can get, and I don't know if that's the correct term.
Why couldn't you turf it?
Is there a splash pad?
sounds
Be the
old.
first of its kind.
Yeah.
I don't know, because you have turf out there, it gets rained on constantly.
Yeah, never.
And it's what they basically do is they pour it and then they acid wash it
Mhm.
and it turns it, and that's what we'll probably end up doing to our splash pad eventually.
So yeah, so I'll kind of. Yeah, we'll tell you what we think, but then, yeah, there's no, unless you had another project, where you had another park and you had the plan set, then I could copy that exact same language. And kind of as we get into this stuff, I was also reached out to you guys and said, if you have exactly the products you wanna use for benches. Because what we do is I just look at the other parks.
Yeah.
And I look at a visual, and then I go try to find it, but I don't know exactly what it is, so all this stuff is yours.
This looks right, they,
Okay.
yeah, to do more,
Yeah, so if you have exactly what you want, it's different, please send it to me.
Okay.
You know, those,
That's, go ahead.
those tables like on the left there, with the cutout where you can wheel up with a.
Yeah.
With a wheelchair.
Yep, yep.
That's those.
And then the drinking fountain you asked about, that's that, so it has the dual drinking fountain plus the
Right.
pet one. And then we have the dog specialty area there. We have bike racks, we have the so, the soccer goalposts, we thought we understood that you guys wanted those embedded into non-movable, right?
Yeah,
So we were pouring those.
and
on-
turf underneath.
Yeah, so that's, we have the turf right there,
Okay,
and then we have goalposts and concrete.
And there would be,
I
you would go around that goal just a little bit, so when these guys mow,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, we have it laid out there. There's your, we kind of try to find a. So, anyway. These are things that are pretty interchangeable, but we do need feedback, right?
remove the center deal on the bench.
Yeah, you said that, it's only fine product that didn't have that, so. And then we were looking for, somebody asked for like a shade structure over the splash pad, kind of like something. So right now, I think we're showing, if you look around the splash pad, we're showing 3 benches,
Mhm.
so you can sit there and watch your kids. But someone was mentioning that splash pad gets really hot when you're sitting there, and so we were looking for kind of like a shade structure. And so that last page I was looking at, we showed it just kind of said for informational purposes. I think I heard it, but I never got a formal, like, let's really make it happen, you know, so I think we're
Where'd
just.
that come from? Was that some from the public?
No, we
last
talked
meeting.
about
I
it
think
here,
we
but we
talked
talked about
about-
trees too.
Yeah,
There's trees there, it just, I think we were, I think
So you
our.
can sit under the trees. while
Yeah,
you're-
to shade the benches.
And this, I think, is a gazebo.
How are we on, how are we on budget though, looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, we're gonna be tight, you know.
So maybe, do we wanna just focus more on the trees than,
Yeah, I mean, trees are be less expensive, right?
yeah, and then have the gazebos. If you go sit-
And are the
Yeah.
benches gonna match our bench program benches?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
The black ones that are.
Yeah.
we're just technology machine.
So you can send me that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just, those are some pieces, so I mean, like I said, we seem like we're there, but all the, you know, kind of polishing it does take a lot of time.
alright,
I do think it would be really cool to get out to the community that this is an opportunity for you to dedicate a tree.
well, and one other thing that, you know, we developed in this board, developed a parks naming policy.
We do need to name this.
Do we need to, should we start going about it? And I think we need to, you know, maybe get that information out to the public.
Yeah.
You know, name the park. I mean, there's a policy in place. It's on the city website.
I can post it on our HOA.
Yeah, I can tell you where to find it if you want. You post it on your HOA and.
Yeah, I think she did after the last meeting.
That'd be
She
smart
talked
to
about
get
it.
started on that, Barry.
I
That's gonna
could
take a
post
while.
it on Friends of Canby Parks too.
Excellent, that would be great. Yeah, so we need to do that,
Yeah.
you know.
Parking lot's all approved by fire already,
Yeah.
so we're good there.
I feel like I saw a note that this was gonna be no parking stripes okay, good.
Yep.
It's already hard enough pulling out of our neighborhood when people park their trailers on Locust, so.
We're gonna kind of field fit all the striping and stuff on the, if we're gonna do one way, all that, just we're gonna see how it flows.
Yeah.
But it's been commented by people, no parking between the 2 driveways.
Okay. Well, I think we, you know, I reached out, you know, Jim, I did send Tara, you know, the message on this meeting and, you know, to notify anybody from Auburn that wanted to come, I sent it to Gina Dubois from Dodds. I sent that note to them and also made them aware of this meeting tonight, so.
Oh, do you have enough to go now, you think?
No, yeah, so what I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm gonna look through my to-do, my coordination list for the things I want me to final say off, you know, kind of like, you know. So I'll go through kind of a coordination. In the meantime, I'll also get Jeff to take another shot at this. If anyone finds pictures in their free time, send them my way. I'll get my other guys working on the whole site in general, so I'm just gonna push forward as fast as we can. I think you sent me a spec book example, you know, that was kind of another thing, because I haven't done specs with you before.
And Ben just did one for us.
Okay.
He has all of the information.
Better, right, probably about the same, we have like,
He's busy too,
well, yeah, I think.
but
maybe it's like
but
21
he's got it
projects.
all, he's got it all, we could copy that, 'cause
Yeah.
I think that went, there was nothing, we didn't have any problems or mistakes with that, so.
So you guys don't prepare the front end stuff, or you do special, or he did it all?
He did it all,
Okay. So yeah, I can coordinate with Ben and Bobby and get that going. But yeah, I think my goal would be, yeah, get you something for tomorrow, get Jeff going on his stuff, push as fast as I can on my designers. So in the process, so let's say we get 90% would be to you.
Yep.
And you think you need 8 weeks to review?
Well, it's Clackamas County that processes building permits and they usually need 6 to 8 weeks. But I was also thinking depends on how much earth moving is involved, but we might wanna get an early grading permit.
Yeah, we better start on early grading. Is that something that I can submit, or Ray and I can work on, or?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just tell me what
You want us to do that? We'll need a kind of a.
Yeah,
We need an exhibit from you, and then we could help.
Yeah.
Ray and I can fill out paperwork for you.
so that'd be a good one, if that, yeah, so Clackamas County approves the earthwork.
Yeah.
Grading,
Yeah.
yeah.
It goes to them, and then we gotta approve the erosion control here, so we'll be fast that way, so. That's
So
probably.
it sounds like there's some weeks, if not a month there, right? So if I took a month.
Yeah, we'll start on, so we need early grading permit, we need to get.
And then once the design is finalized, then you'd submit for a building permit.
We'll get that submitted.
You probably need
You
a
know,
DEQ 1200C,
It doesn't drain to the river.
so as long as everything doesn't leave the site.
If it stays on site, we don't have to go 1200
Okay.
That's been my past experience.
I'm okay with it.
A lot of people just do it because they don't want to.
Well, you're pretty fortunate, there's not very many places that you can fully infiltrate 3 acres, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not, never happens.
Yeah, we're really unique
Yeah.
here, it's,
So, so anyway, yeah, I think kind of just getting that to-do list.
so benches. We need to get the benches.
Yeah, I'll put that on the coordination list.
And then, great, permit, we'll work on that, you get us a site plan.
Can you send me a list of the permit process or what you?
Sure.
What, that would be helpful, so we kind of make sure we have all our ducks, right?
Okay,
And yeah, I'll just put this as my hottest project and maybe I'll keep rock and rolling.
let's just have a pre-construction meeting, we're ready.
We had a pretty good point then, I mean, that we.
I think we're squared away, I think this was helpful for us.
Yeah, the project is. Yeah, you wanna get it going as soon as possible, let's say the push is to July, August, whatever, you know, your paving season's up through. October, September, October, that's what you really care about is getting that flat work done, right? And then,
What the rule of thumb with us here is you just get it out as fast, we get it done as fast as we can, and it usually works out.
yeah,
One, keep it moving, and
Yeah.
it seems to work out, all our projects seem to work, as long as they keep moving,
yeah,
if that makes sense, so. And
We
the-
need a project for
the-
2025.
The dirt work too, it's all sand, so that it'd be a good, you could work in all kinds of. weather.
yeah, exactly, yeah, you just can't pave when it's too cold, so,
Yeah.
so I think paving and,
And the parking lot isn't a huge ordeal, we do a lot of, first lift stuff.
Yeah.
Back, when it's warm, pave it later,
Yeah.
so. Our biggest thing with this group is to get ground breaking.
Okay.
ribbon cutting. Right, that's what you guys want.
Kids playing in 2025.
Thank you so much, thank you so much for coming. You can stay for the second part of this meeting if you want.
I probably cause more problems than I'm.
Tara, thanks for,
Yeah.
well, you can stay also.
I really want to, but I told my family I would be home.
Good to see everybody again.
Thank you
Right
for
on.
coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. Thank you.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, now we do have a quorum. We have Andrew Hale.
Well, we almost didn't have a quorum. Wow.
We did not.
Okay, well, I was thinking about just going straight home, but
Here
here I am.
you are. Well, if you want to take a quick break, Jerry, Public Works provided drink, food, help yourself. If you want to take a quick break, you know, and we'll reconvene when Jerry gets back in. We'll start up. Or if not, I do need some copies. All right, we'll get back into our regular Parks Advisory Board meeting for March. And I need to get approval, see if we can get a motion to approve our February 2025 meeting minutes. So if we can do that.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, February minute, that's Kara makes a motion. Is there a second? Second. Doug? Seconds the motion to approve the February minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we'll move on to our next portion. Now, the only person that's new is Andrew Hale. He's a member of the Parks Board. You missed Dr. Perman.
Don.
Don?
Don.
Oh, last week or last month?
No, he's here today.
Oh, you're new,
So-
okay.
So we're doing public comment, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you very much. Let me pass out, I've been in Canby 32 years. I started with Dr. Kraft near Wake Park. Don't have complete numbers, but you guys can share a little bit.
Sure.
I started by Wake Park, took over Dr. Kraft. Outgrew my space, similar to the eye doctor that's outgrowing her space right now. And so I was looking to build a new office. And I could not obviously find. Anybody else want one? Here you go. And so I couldn't find Dr. Don Perman, Perman.
Okay.
And so I worked downtown by Wake Park. I grew like crazy and started looking for property to build an office. Downtown had nothing commercial wise to build. They had very restricted commercial property to actually build a dental office. And so I started looking around and attempted, I'll give you the whole story so you understand. I tried to buy the property where the emergency center is by Fred Meyer, that big complex that's there. But they told me that it was for lease only at the time that I asked to buy it. So I kept searching around for property to maybe build my dental office. There weren't any commercial lots available. There was no bare land possible. So I ran into light industrial property that was right up against the commercial property. And I asked the city to convert it to an actual commercial professional office development only. So there's CC&Rs in this development that restricts the building code to keep it as professional office space. So Dr. Warren and the microchip company and myself and another is building right now. We have building codes, CC&Rs, and we built the road and the cul-de-sac. The issue that started when we built all our parking lots, our private parking lots were being used by the public to access the logging road. not only us, but also next to us with the commercial where the zone is, that he has rented out office space also. He also has many people that uses private parking for people that wanna access the logging road. This has been going on for quite some time. And I've approached the city and they realize that this has been going on for a long time. Because what happens is not only in our parking lots, but also in the cul-de-sac. You can see in this cul-de-sac, I got pictures of city buses having lunch for an hour for years. And so I kept saying to the city, we need to do something about having an actual public parking area for the public on the south side of town to access the logging road. It never got resolved, and I understood that. Brian contacted me and said, look, we have a new council, maybe we can figure something out. So I started bringing it up again, started talking about it. And remember that development on 13th, way out there, where they built a park, it's a nice park, but there's no public parking lot. There's a side road, 1 or 2 spaces on the side of the road, but there is no public parking, similar to Territorial. On the north side, they have their public parking where they can access it easily and get onto the logging road. So I brought to the city a proposal to take one of the lots and take one of these lots. This is the logging road, there's Redwood, here's the logging road. And this is actual city park right here, this is city park. It's a big triangle right here, that's city park also. That's a park that has the cement blocks in it. It's the one when you talked about people sleeping, that's where they sleep. Okay, that's a park that's been, tried to keep it clean, trying to keep people out of there. Well, I have evidence of many people sleeping there at night. So anyway, this public park right here, and then the logging road. And so I'm saying is, we have maybe a possibility of converting one of the ones that are still available for public parking and take a lot and put gravel and asphalt, and then we solve the problem on the south side of town. We have no public parking. You can't park in the industrial areas, you can't park at the schools, you can't park anywhere along the logging road. There's nothing. And so they use my parking lot, they use other professional parking lots, along with this road and cul-de-sac, which I've sent to the city many times of 4 or 5 cars parked. Now, I could have put a sign in, I was told, put a sign up. We have one sign up of no parking. But I also got quotes from the fire department that signs and red lines really don't stop people from parking where they want to park. And so for the last 17 years, I've been the parking lot for everybody on the south side wanting to get to the logging road by car. You can get there walking, you can get there biking. But it's the elderly and the people that want to get right up against the logging road on the south side of town to access the logging road. And I have cars every day. They want to access the logging road. So I'm hoping to get some support from the Parks and Rec Committee that the possibility of converting one of these lots to a very simple, common sense solution to a problem that's been going on for many years.
Which of these lots are available?
This one, there's my office right there, my dental office is right there along Redwood.
Redwood?
So the one next to it, it's owned by Scott Gustafson right now. He decided not to build and he took a building down in downtown.
He owns both of them, right?
I think, I'm not sure, but there's 2 lots available right here. And then there's one over here.
But this one's for sale.
But this one we could take over. We're just talking with them
Oh,
and
yeah,
negotiate. Okay, this one just sold for $60,000 and that's the one that's getting built on now. The one that's over towards the east, okay?
What about that one just above that?
Right
That's
here,
along Malala?
that's available.
This is available.
That's a possibility too, right on the cul-de-sac.
Isn't that the one, isn't that the logging?
Correct,
road right
that's the
there?
logging road, correct.
And so it's right at the end of the.
That's right.
cul-de-sac.
And this connection right here that I'm showing you right here, the
Right.
city told me to build that, okay? Well, that's been an expressway for maintenance trucks, utility trucks, fire trucks, police. to get onto the logging road, especially the last couple of years with all the construction of 99E. It's been used a lot to get to the other side of the streets. And so I hope that we can, with your support, it's right now a private road. But I'm hoping to convert it to a public road. I've had Geotech company and talked to Jerry, and he said, yes, it's been a very adequate road the last 17 years to travel on. So that's why I thought, okay, I've gotta go through the motion of getting support for a parking lot that's been needed for several years. And this is a very easy, inexpensive solution in terms of having some public parking on the south side of town to access the logging road. And I have elderly there almost virtually every day.
I have one question.
Yes,
If, say, the Parks Department did buy a lot,
right,
are you still gonna try to request the city take over
the
the
road.
road?
Well, I would do it either way. Yeah, I would ask, I'm asking the city to take over the road. Correct.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I hope I'd like
I
it,
just didn't
I would
know
like it to be a public road. It's been used as a public road.
I just
for
didn't know
17 years.
if the city bought that property, if they
No.
would give them access to that road then.
Yes, it would. That's what I'm talking about. If the rec committee would build a lot, buy one of the lots and make this a public road
Oh, okay.
instead of private. That's all I'm asking the city is,
Yeah, I mean,
and I've had Jerry look at it and I had a geotech company drill holes to confirm the condition of the road. So that it's done very well. The one thing we gotta remember is that this road is not traveled by semi trucks. It's not 50,000-pound trucks that use this every 5 minutes. It's just specifically for roads and access to the professional office space. And that we've been doing it for years. And it's done very well. There's no potholes, there's no major cracks. I just had a report sent to the city on the condition of the road to tell us that it's a very adequate road for the site-specific traffic that this particular road has, because it ends in a cul-de-sac. There's no open space and it's never going to be.
all right.
So that's why.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I get what you're saying, and I know you're asking us for our support, and I mean, I would think that would be a good, but I don't think it's a park project. I don't think it's for parks to buy. I don't know, I mean, we can
We just-
discuss that at our board.
yeah, you guys can talk about it.
It's,
I talked to Elaine of the planning committee,
Laney.
Elaine. And she said that sounds like a great idea. And that's just one, person there on the planning.
and I can't, and you
Yeah.
said you've gone to.
I've
the
gone to
mayor,
the council,
You've gone to the mayor, and you've gone.
and
to
I'm
council.
asking for, some answers back as to where they wanna go, but I just think it would be nice to have some support acknowledging that we have no public parking on the entire south side of town to access the logging road. And that's and we continue to have people park in our own private parking lots. And we've been trying to resolve that issue for a long time. And I just retired, I sold my practice, but I still own the building in parts of it. And I still wanna see this develop nicely, the rest of the lots.
Sure.
And I have an eye doctor who wants to build it, Ashley McFerrin.
Mhm.
She's looking to potentially take over, see, this one was started near the logging road. But something happened to the developer in order and he has to bail out, so she's thinking about taking this one and this one. And build a 5,000 square foot professional eye clinic here.
Okay.
And so I'm working with her and trying to help her resolve her problems and trying to help before I decide to finally leave Canby. I wanna make sure this is resolved. And that we have this solved so that we don't have people parking in the cul-de-sac and on the road and in private parking lots when we have a public parking lot available for the public to use to have access to the logging road on the south side of town. We can't, there's a bridge, talking about this big bridge going over from,
Right.
Fred Meyer, and that's great. But that's a multi-million-dollar project.
Right.
This is minimal, and it really solves the issues, common sense, to help resolve that issue that's been going on so many years.
Okay, well,
So I thank you for listening, taking your time. I know what it's like to put out time. I was president of Canby Baseball and president of Clackamas County Dental Society. So I appreciate all your efforts and all your time putting into this alone tonight. But I would just wanna let you know that I'm hoping to get some support so that I can go back to city council and just know that there are other branches around here that support this project because it is so limited on the south side of town, what's available
Okay.
for public parking.
We hear
All right?
Yeah.
Any questions for anybody?
you. No. I think-
You're welcome to look at it, and it's not a real expensive project, but it really resolves some issues in terms of the city and the growth on the south side.
We'll discuss that later on, and I'll ask Jim what, we'll talk about it towards the end again, but I appreciate you taking the time and coming down.
And the
here.
council liaison will tell me, I see him all the time too, and so hopefully we can get some communication with the council and see where we're going with the budget that I sent them.
Thanks, Don.
Sounds great.
All right, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Again, I thank you for your time, 'cause I know what it's all about in terms of volunteer time, so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for your,
Thank you.
bye-bye. If you have any questions, you can always call me at my office, I'm there. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, now we have a couple other visitors, so James, I'll have you introduce yourself again and your daughter, and then after, help yourself there.
So my name is James Heckthorn. I'm with the Canby Rebels. This is my daughter Ava, who's played with Rebels. She's now at Canby High School, freshman on varsity. Very proud of her. And then we have Coach Jess Roberts. She's the
Hi.
Rebels president here as well. So I just wanted to come back and see you guys again. I wanted to be here last month, but the meeting moved and we couldn't make it. But we've talked about giving you guys a calendar. So this is our season tournament calendar. And we'd like to be able to put this up around town. Our board hasn't voted on it yet, but we would have our sponsors and everything here. But baseball has a couple tournaments that they'll be hosting at Maple Street Park as well that are not on this. But you can tell through the list, we're quite busy, starting here in about a month. And we will also be hosting some rec games there. If we get rainouts, baseball and the softball rec teams will be coming out to Maple and playing there back to back in the evenings under the lights. So that's the calendar piece. We also are looking for some clarity or guidance in terms of a fee schedule or what that might look like from the city. We've already budgeted our year and the cost for our tournaments, and we don't have any guidelines yet for what that might look like. So in order to plan our future, we kind of want to know what we need to be charging the kids. And then also looking, we're getting a lot of outside community groups that are looking to get on Maple Street Park. I don't know what that stance looks like. We have the NAFA group that hosts, they're the largest independent group of softball tournaments in the state that they are asking to get on Maple because of rainouts. The Pioneer high school team is hosting a tournament, but they have dirt fields. They're hoping that they might be able to use the Maple Street fields as a secondary spot if we have rainouts, those things. There's also a Portland senior softball league that is looking to get on the fields during the week, during the days. In terms of what that looks like, we've just always said that's not really something we wanted to do when we were doing the dirt. Unless we had a Canby team that was part of that tournament, and then we would bring them in. And we would host it, our teams would get in for free and that kind of stuff. We are continuing to do the maintenance of the turf playing space, working with baseball on the usage, and also looking at how we can do our improvements we're wanting to do with the apron boards, talking about maybe a pitching warm-up lane, so it's out on the side, and then just being in the loop too with you guys. I know there's been talk about bathrooms and what that might look like for us this summer in terms of also road usage and blocking off space to have the egress into the parking lot. So working with you guys to get the no parking signs or placards out.
Will you please get in touch with us at Public Works before these, so we can get that stuff, go through just a process, so we make sure it's out there for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a space, because we're probably gonna be clearing out our tractor from the shed there.
So we could bring you this stuff you could set out.
Yeah.
That would make it really easy on us.
Yeah, and then no additional costs, you guys already have those and.
Yeah.
need to do any-
Are you talking about the boards?
No, I'm talking about barricades and stuff
Okay.
for like, you know,
For what
so
they-
people can see to turn out, cause they park right up to the.
So you guys will set those signs out?
Yeah, we can.
We'll give them the signs if they got room to store them and, they can place them or cones, whatever you need.
Yeah. So, that's kind of it, that's our update for now.
I asked James to come and give us kind of this update because I knew in the schedule, because there's gonna be a lot of, that Maple Street Park is gonna be a busy park.
So, yeah, any type of stuff or stuff you need to go through Marita here. Just call her and she'll make a work order, we'll set it out and that way it's done.
Okay.
And so she's at 266-0798. And you can find her on the website or anything like that. And let us
We're
know.
also seeking guidance.
Jessica can get in touch with us too, so.
Seeking guidance on, in the past, we have been asked not to put porta potties there because it would be in the parking spot, and at the time, we were told not to put it in the grass because vandalism or any of that stuff, and I just wanted to ask one more time, is there a better place for us if we wanted to bring in some relief? That's always, the only real complaint we get is the bathrooms, the doors are really heavy, oftentimes no one's in there, but they don't realize you've got.
We're gonna leave it up to you as long as, I mean, you guys do a good job of maintaining everything out there, as long as the park stays nice, we're gonna leave it up to you what you guys do with those events, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Good with that, so.
Okay.
What works best for you guys?
He mentioned fees. And you were gonna talk, or somebody was gonna talk with legal, because there are outside concerns now. To me, I don't know, I mean, it's the Canby Rebels and it's the baseball, and we've never charged them before, and I don't know as, you know, to me, it's a benefit to the kids, you know, to be playing on those fields for free, but if somebody else wants to come in and utilize those, you know, I would start to. So we're gonna have to maintain those fields. I mean, in 10 years from now, are we gonna have to replace any turf? And we might need, you know, to raise some funds that we can pay that back. And so. I don't know if anybody reached out to legal to see what the.
I have not, I know Counselor Davis brought it up a couple meetings ago. Have you heard anything back? Okay, I'll mention it. And, see what they say. I know right now we're doing budget and, master fee schedule is the last thing to be changed, so we'd have to act on this pretty quick. If we were gonna start doing that this year.
How is I mean, I don't know how it works right now. Do all the kids pay a fee to pay for the route? I mean, do you guys?
Yeah, so we have a registration fee that comes to the club that we use for our insurance and those things. And the rec kids also have a fee.
So you guys would have a recommendation of what to charge and stuff like that?
I mean, based on what our experience is, like when we go to play tournaments and stuff and our costs, we are one of the cheaper tournaments to play in. Our cost for field use in the past has been mostly like doing the clay work and the maintenance and paying kids to come and, you know, take care of the weight between games and stuff.
Anything you could get me would speed that up, like. So I wouldn't have to dig into, I mean, if you have something that you've been using, that'd be super helpful if you had anything. Cause I'd be starting kind of with a clean slate on this.
Right, and we are, and right now, I mean, you guys don't. You're practicing at Maple Street Park right now, I mean, which you should be, right? I mean, there should be, you're not paying a fee to the city right now to use those fields, you just schedule them.
Right.
And I don't know, it seems like, I know we made those improvements.
I know.
They already pay a fee, it's called taxes.
Taxes and parks maintenance fee.
Yeah.
So, I
I
mean,
know.
they are paying, Barry, it's
I'm
just,
opposed to a fee for.
But aren't you talking
for
about
local
outside?
groups.
I'm talking about outside.
Yeah,
Outside groups.
yeah.
And we've been very protective of our fields in Canby and, you know, not wanting outside groups come in and not have, you know, control of what they're doing on the field, so that's why we've been really involved in anything that comes in, it's our crews that are there, we have people on site that are essentially managing the tournament or are participating in the tournament, so with the senior group, it's a slow pitch senior group, I'm not sure how much they're gonna be causing trouble or anything like that, but it's the NAFA group, you know, I know that they're very actively out there trying to get turf access.
well, why don't we all look, call legal, see what the options are, if it messes with our recreation and, you know, any of that type of stuff, what do you call it, recreational immunity?
I
And
would-
start with that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be good. I wouldn't want to affect our local kids. You know, that have been playing there forever. These guys are I mean, they've been trained in maintaining the turf fields. I mean, they do have, and so they do maintain just like they did the dirt, you know, during the season. You do have boards to pick up from any.
Yeah, when you, whatever, let us know when you want those or when.
I'm not so worried about the seniors tearing the place up, but everybody uses, you know, every usage of it is wear and tear on it.
Right.
That has, you
Right.
know, that takes maintenance, it's all of the things, and so, you know.
I'll tell you, my concern is just the kids and their bikes, getting out there and,
I bet,
yeah, they're just, you know, racing around and it's nice and slick, so they're power sliding and doing things out there and.
There's
So-
nothing we can do about that,
There's, so.
How do you,
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
nothing.
kids?
you'll be in touch with us for barricades, all that, we'll just do a quick check with the attorney to see what that even looks like for charging outsiders. See if that's even, is that kind of a plan?
Yeah, we
Report
need
back
to-
at the next meeting?
Right.
Okay.
And I guess we can do that, research, maybe call North Clackamas.
See what
And
their
see-
fees are and
See
how
what
they
they charge, and then any outside interests that wanna use those fields, we could set a fee.
The pool does something, right? That it's more expensive to use the pool if you don't live in the city limits than it is if,
Right.
so there's already
The city, I mean, the
Model
school
for that
does
type
have
of
a
thing.
model
That's a
for
good
that as
idea,
well,
yeah.
in terms of in-district use and out-of-district use.
the school does too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could show
So
them.
that's, I mean,
Okay.
there's
So
information there.
is there a mechanism, if there's a fee paid, that fee actually goes to a parks maintenance account and not a general fund?
Good question too, you know, it depends on how the ordinance is wrote when we move forward with this. It's all determines that, if it's,
It should go to the Parks and Maintenance.
and that's what if we did it, that's the way we want it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not going to zero.
So if you were to charge outside clubs or organizations, how would they go about reserving the field?
That's what goes into the whole recreation piece. And we've actually budgeted money to get a consultant to look into that for us, like getting recreation started here.
Right.
So right now.
Well,
we
that's
don't
part of the
have-
cost, it's gotta be part of the cost, you know, maintenance of the actual facility and.
It's just right now, who do you go pay the check to, who do
Yeah.
you reserve it with, or who's the person managing this recreation portion of it? That's what.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have a calendar, you gotta know what their schedule is during the week, you know, for practice and everything.
It starts recreation for us, it's a big thing.
Right.
And that's what we want, that's a goal, that's a council goal, actually, to
Right.
start that, so this kind of opens it up.
Right.
And we did, so COVID would be a great example because it's the only city park that was open for business, as it were. And we managed the schedule and got soccer on there and, you know, lacrosse and baseball, and we did all that sharing through our calendar. So
Okay.
we'd be willing to help and support in the interim, however we can do
Okay.
that, so.
And are you guys able to share that calendar with the city?
Yeah,
Like, let's say you guys call me, like, I could look into your calendar and be like,
Yep,
oh.
it's basically a spreadsheet and we can give you access and get on there anytime and see it.
Is that for your practices also?
Jessica, it's something that we wanna get going, we've just been behind on everything, and so it's actually on our list to do, to start this.
Right, I mean, we've talked about this before, we are Parks and Recreation, but we spend most of our time on parks, not the recreation.
And Counselor Patton keeps bringing up, he wants money to replace the turf in the future.
Right.
What a great place for that money to go into an account.
Right.
To replace that when it's,
to build.
when its lifespan is done, so. Well, that's for whiteboard.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate it,
Boards.
thanks, James.
Yeah, boards. Yeah, I gotta get with our field guy, Matt.
You're not waiting on us for anything.
No, we're not
Okay.
waiting on you guys,
I
yeah,
think
it's
Matt's
more.
actually gonna reach out to you, he was supposed to
Yeah.
come get them a while ago, but I'll,
Okay. Yeah,
I'll tell him
We're
again.
just gonna look for a planer,
Yeah.
commercial grade planer to resurface those boards and restain them so they look new and they match the plane surface.
You know somebody who's gotta know.
That's kind of.
I think you should buy a planer, Barry, if you're volunteering.
Scott's got it.
Yeah, Scott's asking, there you go.
Scott's got it.
Oh, perfect. We'll drop them off tonight.
Can you imagine him just rumbling and carrying on?
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all.
Thanks, James, appreciate it.
Thanks for putting that together. If you wanna stay for the rest.
Yeah, we'll,
if you
I
want.
like to say to this part.
All right, our monthly, update, Jerry, we go into old business and then we'll move into new, but any upgrades on Maple Street?
Any
Or updates? I should
updates?
say.
Yeah, I talked to the city administrator today, Jim Davis brought up it again last night, and I was told to let you know that it will be on the April 2nd agenda to discuss Maple.
And that's for the parking? Okay,
Parking and playground equipment.
okay. So are you gonna draft a recommendation then for that?
I haven't had time to have a conversation what she wants to do on that, but I would like to, Jim, like, to let you guys know, what the city administrator talked about last night is we're in between engineers right now. So we're, as you can see on the calendar up there, the RFP closes on what, Spencer, when eyes are bad?
The 24th.
The 24th for our engineer, and so when that closes, we wanna fast track it, go it through, or if, like I said, if it's an emergency, we do it, we build it ourselves in-house, the parking lot. And so that's what the conversation is gonna be. We're gonna have to have a council meeting, you know, the importance of this. Jim's gonna be there to support this, of course. And I keep bringing it up with the city administrator, saying that this group needs to, they've made a recommendation, we need to make them feel heard, and let's keep moving forward on this, so.
Jim, you sent me an email from a citizen that was concerned on the playground equipment, the little park, and I will respond to him, I will answer him. I mean, it's not like, we're not doing away with that playground, we're just relocating the playground, so. I mean, I don't, you know, I think we can, maybe, I'll work with it.
Yeah, well, I responded to it too.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah, it's the process we gotta go through. I mean, there's even a planning process we have to go through, rating permits, all of that stuff. We just need to get moving on it. Like Counselor Davis said, I don't care, just let's do it last night. Let's do this. And so, we're having conversations. We'll have more conversation about it on the 2nd with council.
So just to bring you up to speed, we were talking about expanding the parking on the south lot where the small playground is. And moving up and maybe over towards the gazebo and taking that little playground, moving it down where the other playground is. And combining the two. Because that way you don't have, if you're watching one down there and watching one over here, it's a little, so you're combining both. As far as restrooms go, we've talked about tabling that you know, for a while expense wise and using.
Yeah, that makes sense, just from my use with my kids. If you move that playground over, it really limits the need for that other bathroom on that side.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Yeah, I know, I was explaining that to several people 5 years ago or something. Rick Robinson called me up and said, meet me at Maple. We went over to that north grass area and he says, how long would it take you to get this gravel for an overflow parking lot? I said, how long do I have? You know, and it kind of dropped there. We were gonna do that. It might be a planning issue doing that as a temporary, I don't know, but I brought it up last night because Counselor Davis brought up safety. And so if there's stuff we could do or see that safety, maybe we could do something like that till we get this other one built or something. You know, an overflow with some gates that you guys could open up and pile a bunch of cars in there. It's just an idea to think about.
Yeah, the
And
safety.
I'm gonna bring it up at that second meeting.
The safety aspect comes about when they start having these tournaments and you're parked on both sides of the road on Maple Street and you're down to one lane, pretty much. And if you have anybody going in between cars into Maple Street, I mean.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a problem.
It's traffic and pedestrian safety, and is there sidewalks?
Yeah,
Both sides.
Is there sidewalks on both sides now?
Yeah, there are. That's good. But you're all invited to come to the second meeting, or April 2nd, to discuss it. If you have concerns, it would help with the council's decision, right?
Is that gonna be a workshop?
I don't know, Jim, I'm not sure. I just got, can you check? I just got told that it would be brought up under business at the next meeting.
Okay, anything else on Maple? All right.
I had a question, just the grass surface, I know that we had talked in the fall about reseeding and possibly aerating and doing that stuff, I don't know if that's still on the calendar.
How's it looking? I haven't been over there. Is it
I mean, it's coming back, this next week with some good sun, it's gonna
maybe
be
just
helpful, but
maybe
it's kind of
some garage?
splotchy and,
I mean, it could always use to be, you know,
Spencer, do you wanna
I don't know,
get together with Ken on that? They're asking about reseeding, aerating maybe, or
aerating.
where
is-
they did all the construction, right?
Oh,
On the
yeah.
outfield.
yeah. A roll or two, just to help smooth
I
it
mean,
out.
that would really.
That's what I'm wondering. Could we run our asphalt roller out there and just push everything down? Would that help a lot? On a wet day, go out and just, I wanted to do that. Jason Sprague was even offering to do it, but we could send someone out there for a day. Okay.
You got irrigation out there?
They have all the heads for
Yeah,
inventory, yeah.
It would help, because, I mean, it really looks good.
Got that
There's
wrong.
always complaint out there. I mean, the only drawback is the outfields are a little rough. So, yeah. Anything else on Maple? No? All right, new business. I just wanted to mention, maybe the pedal park and the skate park project. We need to add that to the project list, right? We're gonna be we're gonna be talking about the 20-year and the 5-year CIP coming up, but we need to make sure that we get this pedal park. If we wanna do anything with that, it has to be on a 20-year forecast. and a
If you wanna
5-year
use SDCs to pay for it, right, Ryan?
Yeah, and if you wanna get grants for it, it should be showing up on the list too.
Yeah, okay.
And Barry, at the council meeting, was brought that up, the attorney?
It was the consultant that.
Yeah, the consultant, and anyway, the park master plan. The park and rec committee can update that list and recommend to the council to change that list. Or to add to it as projects get, and that can happen annually.
Oh, annual?
Annually.
Okay. And we've talked about, you know, when the master plan, well, that was the 20-year. 20-year, 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 20-ye I don't know, when you look at it, it's really not 20 years, it was 10, but on the Parks Master Plan, but.
Well, it's government, you just times it by 2, that's how long it takes, right?
But we also needed to put it on our 5-year CIP also.
And we've updated that CIP, the 5-year that came here, and it's gonna be going to council during budget.
Right,
So-
okay. All right, and I've received a call from the American Rent Company. They were wondering, are we dead in the water or what? I said, no, we're still discussing, but nothing.
You can't afford to pay for it, can you?
Myself? No.
So that asked.
But if we get some outside people renting the softball fields,
Then we can.
make.
We requested it. We did a budget request for the Meadow Park.
Yeah.
Out of general fund.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, so.
Okay. Opening it up to the board, are there any other new business? Is there any other new business we want to discuss? Anybody else have anything they want to throw on the table?
So do we have the CIP? Are we looking for more projects on that 20-year list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
What are we calling the park at the pond these days?
Community park?
Community park. I use that pretty extensively, not during on season, off season. Is there any plan to replace all that all the bollards, those white bollards with the cable? That's just a untidy mess down there with all that.
Spencer?
Yes, we are looking in at removing all the cables and bollards and then just doing a curve
Curving in there.
all the way around it.
Okay.
And
You can do.
There was also on the 5-year CIP.
Are we gonna get to that this year?
Depending on what pricing would come in at, it would depend on if it had to go to council.
We put money into it, we just don't know, everything got up, we don't know if we have enough, but it's a plan for us to replace. Yeah.
Also on the 5-year CIP, there was one of the items listed was to do a master plan in community park and redoing community park and Lake Park. But community park, the other thing that I've always mentioned is that we used to have a fountain in community park pond. There used to be a fountain, but it was made out of plastic and the nutrients shoot through it.
You mean something to aerate the pond?
Yeah, aerate the pond and keep the scum from growing on it in the summertime. So that was one thing that I didn't put on my list. To replace the pond aeration fountain, whatever. So.
Just as an aside, the reason I asked the name of the park, we said community park.
Yeah.
Because in the master plan here, the 3 to 4 years, it's referred to as a community river park.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Not community park, but community river park?
I know people that just call it River Park.
Yeah. Well, and somebody wanted to rename it too, but.
No, I've never even really looked at the signage, what it's called. Candy, we just called it the.
What's the?
I think most
It
of our
just says
internal
community
stuff
park.
says community.
Most of ours.
Right, just says community park.
Okay. Along with that, I think when I first joined this group, I mentioned that we still had that street light with cable hanging down from a tree, still there.
I must have, at Maple Street Park, or
No,
at Community.
at community park. Yeah.
Is it over by the,
It faces the pond in the parking lot there.
and it doesn't work, it's just an old light hanging there with conduit.
You know, it's got cable, it's got wire and cable wrapping its way down the tree down to about a 5-foot level. People can get on the cable and the light's up there, you can't reach the
We'll make
light.
work order to do that at Community Park.
So Barry, in anticipation of this conversation, I don't know if you're fully getting into the 20-year list
Not yet.
conversation.
Yeah, I'm not fully getting there yet, but it's coming.
You mean tonight or another meeting?
Tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll hold
Yeah.
my thoughts then.
Okay.
Would you put this, I haven't seen that before.
That's what I was just gonna talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doug, I don't really understand. Is it a tree that has a light hanging
It
from
is
it?
a fir tree, a big fir tree.
That has a light hanging
Has,
from
it
it?
looks like a,
Is it by the A-frame?
no, other side of the park, facing the pond. The
Facing the
light
pond, okay.
points at the pond, it's about halfway down in the park. So, who knows
I
how long-
apologize, I think I forgot.
Oh, that's okay.
We have
Just-
it now, we have it now. We're gonna do
And is
recording.
it like a hazard or?
Well, the cable's a hazard, yeah, it's just hanging down, you got the electric cable and then a cable, a tension cable. What that used to hold up the
Is it
cable.
hooked up?
No,
Okay,
No.
just old.
yeah, it's
Needs to be
just,
removed.
yeah, it's just an attractive nuisance.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other new business? All right, I think at this point, okay, Jerry had all this stuff put out on, everybody should have a copy. It was the agenda, and then attached to it was the
City council staff report.
city council staff report that was done back in 2022 by the former city administrator that kind of highlighted it was a 10-year.
I assembled it for him, yeah.
Yeah.
We got the right guy here.
A 10-year plan, and then we, prior to that, our board on August 2nd of 2022. We had a vision of the future of Canby Parks, the recommended priorities, we put that together, sent it to the council. The city administrator and Ryan used that and put together these other recommendations, which, it's kind of a 10 to 20 year futuristic plan, so I think if you go through it, if there's anything, like Doug, you had mentioned, maybe, removing the ballards or whatever at Community Park and maybe the fountain type of thing at Community Park as well. I mean, when you go through there and you start looking at listing anything that you possibly could think of, you can find a spot in this previous 10 to 20 year plan where it fits and an objective that goes along with it, so. I sent these out earlier and asked everybody to take a look and go through it. See if there's anything that you wanted to add to this 20-year list that we've been asked to come up with. And see if we could add it to that list or find where it's already covered in here, so anyways.
Ryan, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, so I want to give a little bit more context and parameters for that. So this came out, and so what Barry said was right, this came out of the Parks Master Plan. But the Parks Master Plan is very all encompassing for all the goals for the parks and recreation in the city. The items on this list, which is a little broader, aren't necessarily SDC eligible. And so, like, if you look at examples on your complete master plan for Auburn Farms, the master plan is not SDC eligible. Initiate Wake Park master plan is not SDC eligible. So this 20-year list, there's a little bit of a difference between this and what we need for the SDC methodology study. And the SDC methodology study is really about things that are SDC eligible. And I know that was a point of confusion for all of us, including staff, when we did the master planning process with our previous consultant. And so what I did, this week was I asked Todd Chase, who presented to council last night. I said, the Parks Board is gonna get into this conversation about this 20-year list. Can you give us some guidance on what actually is SDC eligible? And so this is the information he gave us. So this is really the parameters for what should inform what this refined list includes. And it's really two things: improvements to current parks, and those things can be partially SDC eligible based on how much they contribute to the growth share of that facility. And then when you get to the new parks, and land acquisition, those things are 100% SDC eligible. And so when we get to the methodology study, the study that FCS is creating will have all kinds of guidance that's way more information than this. But I'm hoping this can kind of like guide us into creating a list for 20 years that are things that are actually good, that we could spend SDCs on. And so there's things, on this broader list, like Jerry was talking about, creating a recreation department, which is something that we've all agreed that we want to do. But that's not necessarily something that'll show up on the SDC list because it's not a capital project.
I see in this one sentence, improvements to current parks. This includes any improvement to an existing park such as additional parking, new playgrounds. I was told that maybe that additional parking at Maple Street Park isn't eligible for SDCs, but it isn't that?
It's a percentage.
Percentage. It's not 100% eligible, but you can pay for part of it out of the SDCs.
Oh, really?
And that's the benefit to adopting your new SDC methodology, is you're covered by the methodology that's spelled out in that document. And so once we have that document in hand, when a project comes through, like, hey, we're considering this new parking, you consult the SDC methodology to calculate how much of it's eligible.
So Ryan, so I can get some clarity in my mind, then the master plan, the master plan in which we can spend the STCs out of, we've got to meet that methodology, but we can also update that annually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so we can add to the current master plan, i.e. in Pedal Park or whatever. We can add to that because that's a new park.
Right.
Okay, and that has to go to council for adoption.
Right.
Okay, so we can, that's one thing, Barry, that I think has to happen is we can update the current master plan. And if this group agrees, whether it's the Pedal Park or something else that needs to be added to the master plan, because obviously you're completing some of those projects that are going to drop off. You want to carry through the projects that are on there, but at that point you can add to it too. And then the second part of that is Dawn, for the comprehensive plan, needs the 20-year outlook that you guys have been working on, correct?
Right.
Okay,
And,
so it's
and
twofold. You got the current master plan then, and then the 20-year plan.
And a caveat to that is, you don't wanna, it's better to have a more robust list when you do the SDC methodology, because my understanding is the rates, the SDC rates are partially based on paying for the package of projects that are that are attached to that methodology. So if you were saying, oh, we're trying to raise our rates by a lot, which I think we all agree that we'd like to raise the SDC rates because we have a lot of stuff we want to pay for. But if your project list is a small, cheap list, then it's harder to defend that SDC rate increase. And so now is the time to bulk up that list that's going to be attached to the methodology.
Got it. Okay.
Under B, wouldn't that cover the Pedal Park?
New park.
Well, it says 100%.
But you need to add that to the current master plan.
Right, I mean, well, we'll add it to the master plan now, but it would be covered 100% under this SDC eligibility now.
Yeah, so you'll wanna add it to the SDC list.
Okay.
And then once we get into looking for grants, which that grant program that we've all kind of been talking about over email, I think we should talk about applying next year for the pedal park. Having not only added it to this SDC list, but also maybe amending our master plan to have it in there too, will bulk up the building the case to get that grant.
So that SDC list would be the 5-year CIP, I mean, the CIP list that we're putting together,
I mean,
would that,
those are on it, but some, like Ryan said, some of those things you have on there are not SDC eligible.
Right.
Because they're not in the master.
And the consultant is saying it's better to look 15, 20 years out, because you have a broader range of projects that are already built into that study.
so can we get a copy of this and
Sure.
give it to everybody? We're not gonna,
Do you want to print it now for everyone?
sure, we're not gonna,
Those all make copies.
we're not gonna solve this at this meeting tonight.
No, but this would be handy for all of us to have.
But if we have that, and then everybody has
Thanks
this,
for getting that.
right? And if everybody has this, and we ask everybody for next meeting to make a list of all the things that you would like to add to a 20-year, what do you call it?
Wish
20-year 20-year wish list?
SDC project list.
Yeah.
SDC project list, 20-year SDC project.
And the other thing I want to say is we asked Todd Chase that spoke at council last night, who's doing our SDC methodology, if he could come to the next meeting of this board next month. He can't be here in person, but he said he could probably do it over Zoom.
Oh,
So
that would be awesome.
if you're interested in that.
Why don't we do that, and why don't we dedicate that meeting to develop, to discussing and developing the 20-year SDC wish list, project list.
That'd be productive.
And would we, I mean, would we build the 5-year CIP already is moving, right? Or do we need to?
The CIP that this group has looked, I've already submitted the finance.
Okay, great.
It's already there.
So
Yeah,
that next meeting, we're gonna dedicate to the 20-year SDC project list, and that'll give you a packet.
yeah, and so that list that you submitted, that I submitted to, or Spencer, or whoever, even if it didn't make it on this list, it's still on there, and we might just have to use general funds if we wanna do a project or something like that, that makes sense.
And if we need to update, like Jim said, if we need to update the master plan, we could do that during that meeting or at that time, or? I mean,
That's where a staff report, we'd go to city council
Right.
asking, since we've completed these projects, we wanna add these projects.
Yeah, and this isn't that uncommon, like our sewer master plan and stormwater master plan, all that, we do this on occasion yearly, and how old's our parks master plan now? 3 years. 3 years, look how fast that went, it's already 3 years old, things change, like Jim says, 3 years around here.
One, and you guys have completed some.
We've done
Yeah.
stuff on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we know where we're heading the next meeting, but if you want to mention the Tajay, he wants to join us. I appreciate it, Ryan.
So we'll have a list from everyone,
Everybody, they have an assignment to start making a list of all the projects they'd like to see.
And then this is a slide from last night's council session. And this is exactly what council saw, but I saw that you had a question for me on our agenda tonight. Just what are the next steps? So there was a council decision. There's a ton of noticing requirements for adopting the SDC study. So the goal is to finish it out by the end of the year. And so there's the whole thing has to be done 60 days before it's submitted to DLCD, and then there's also a 90-day noticing requirement. And so some of those can overlap. But then there's some refinement once FCS creates the draft SDC study, and there's input from stakeholders, and obviously this would be one of the groups of stakeholders before it goes into the hearings to get it adopted at council. And so they're targeting hearings to be between August, September approximately.
Okay, so we're headed in the right direction with dedicating our next meeting to this.
Definitely.
Everybody's sharpened their pencils. Ryan, do you have anything else?
Did you want me to comment on the permit thing?
Yes,
sure.
He is correct, obviously, there's not a great place to park, near the logging trail on the south side of town, he's totally right about that. The planning department's position has always been, this is a private street that does not meet our public street classification standards. Like any city, the city's generally not interested in taking on deficient streets. When this subdivision was created, I'm guessing there was an option to have a public street with a public cul-de-sac. It would have been wider and would have reduced the buildable quality of that subdivision for Dr. Perman.
I did the comments on it. He was fully aware if he didn't build it to our standards, it would be a private road.
Right, so it's a street that's not built to our standard. And so the city, the plan, Don and I and the previous planning directors, that's not really something we would usually want to take on. The follow-up to that is if we didn't take it on and it remained a private street and the city bought a lot to put a parking lot on, it's landlocked by privately owned property. So I don't think anyone would be against finding a new spot for a parking lot to give greater access to the logging trail. And I see what his position is, but it's a little more complicated.
It's more complicated.
Have you guys ever got, the Sequoia Bridge? When you go down, there's that parking spot there.
2 spots maybe.
Greg Ellis had Public Works build that so that he could tell Perman we had public parking. Just if you want some history. I don't know if anyone knew that in here.
Okay.
Because we would like to have, like Ryan says, a parking lot for the south side, but we kind of have Timber Park now a little bit. There's a little parking there.
Well, I think that's what he was alluding to. There were maybe 2 spots out front where you can pull over to the side, but that's about it. Yeah. Well, that makes it a lot clearer. Yeah, of why.
The other piece to that, we had our attorneys look into it. And we found they wanted the city to buy that street and they couldn't tell us who we're buying it from. It had some different names, so he never got back to us on who owns the actual street.
Well, isn't it Perman on
It didn't seem that way. It was a different name. There was some confusion on it.
Well,
we never got heard whose it actually was.
Yeah.
And if the city had bought a lot to have a parking lot, then you'd have to have some agreement.
Right.
Access agreement and maintenance agreement and all that. Just something to think about.
Well, it's a lot clearer now than it was maybe before. Where it seemed like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's such a great idea.
He put the sewer in to our standards, so we maintain it.
Yeah.
So we have a right to be on that street. So when he sees us in there, we're doing maintenance. That's it. But I wished he would have built it. And even if we took over the street, we run into the new fire rules. The new fire code that we adopted, it doesn't meet any of that, so.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, there's an opportunity to maybe work with the school district to get a piece of the land that's already next to the. And it wouldn't be landlocked, it'd be right on township.
That would be.
There's, if we could work something out with the school district to buy a chunk of that land, right there.
That would be a really nice place, actually.
It's not that far away. Better access, it's the school district, so we would just have to work with them.
Yeah.
That would make a good parking lot.
Yeah, and now they do have the little garden there, we'd have to,
And the rest of that property
Oh, you
is
mean-
unbuildable,
I think it would-
you know?
I think it would be popular if we had a spot like that.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, especially for the fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You mean down by Baker Prairie?
Yeah, right there, Channel
Yeah,
Springs.
Yeah.
They've got
Right
that
where
big
the
lot,
ramp is.
I drive past it a couple times a week when my son misses the bus.
Well,
that's-
it doesn't have to be a ton of spots
That's all, that's
either.
not
I mean, Echo
No.
Park is rarely full.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
Every once in a while, on a really beautiful day when it's been crummy for a while, it'll be full, but most of the time, there's 5 cars in the parking lot, and that's about it. So if we had 10 spots, that'd be plenty.
It would be,
Yeah.
yeah.
no, I have to work on some access to get up to the logging
Yeah.
from there, but that's minor stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think so, just a little crisscross right
There is a
there.
path.
Yeah.
Is there? Oh, yeah, I guess there is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ADA,
okay, yeah, so then,
except for there's no ramp on the cutout on the curbing, right?
but I mean, I think that's a better opportunity for us than trying to work around
oh,
a
yeah,
private
Right.
road that doesn't meet our requirements.
It
right.
still wouldn't, yeah, it's not maybe answer for issue.
Yeah. Do like,
People
do you
still-
build it like Arneson Garden where you pull in and have diagonal parking and then you can go back out one way or something?
All right, good idea.
Well, I think if we resolved his people parking in their lots, I think that would resolve the problem for
Yeah.
him.
The last city administrator directed city staff if police catch us in there to arrest us. He did not want us in there. It was a policy made for us, do not drive on that road.
So I do.
Because
have-
he didn't want him going to, saying we're using it. And so we're not allowed to use that road.
Is it school buses or cat buses that are hanging
Sounds
out?
like-
I checked on that, they have to pick up a person in there.
Oh,
That's why they go in there. They go in there and they're picking up a person on that. That's why we have buses going there, so.
All right. Well, you have something
Yeah,
else?
I was just asking, why is the city requiring an access to the logging road?
That's an emergency access
Don't they have it on
It
the
is,
end?
for police and fire.
Okay. Don't they have,
And
it?
we did use it a lot.
Yeah,
And then that's, I mean, the police and fire can go wherever they want.
yeah,
And we get fires on that, and that's how we access that section.
Oh, fires on the. Oh,
Right.
from the campers.
Brian might even say, don't let me talk out of turn here, but that path too is for the people that work there and have property there to get to the path. Is that correct or
Yeah.
what?
But, yeah, yeah, I think it's a public access easement too. But that, you know, private streets are really complicated.
They are.
And nowadays, we probably wouldn't have approved that private street,
Right.
because it's just, it gets really complicated.
Okay.
Well, it's
Right.
already been discussed, but I just wanted to weigh in with my opinion. I think that the last location, excuse me, by the high school, I think that solves a lot of problems. It eliminates the issues with private road. It also, he came here seeking solution. It sounds like he's been reaching out and this way it would offer
That's
solutions
a solution.
for the people that are trying to access the logging road as well as, the private,
You know what would be a
companies.
good idea is, I know they don't want to give up land, but do a 20-year lease or something. Or a 50-year lease, if they didn't want to sell it.
Well, the school's looking for
Money, you could buy it for, and then they could have it back.
Yeah, you'll get that as soon as we
You make
get
it.
to it, right?
Yeah. Like the pool in the adult center.
Yeah, and it, yeah.
If it's unobtrusive to the area they use.
I've been working with, the school a little bit on the adult center. We could always ask if they'd be interested, I guess, when we talk about the adult center
We
stuff.
can include that in our discussion that we're having with the school district.
That would be good, Jim, if it went through you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are discussing that, and there's a lot more interest there.
Ask about that, that'd be great.
So with a parking lot there, is that part of the 20-year master plans that you can plug in there for the park, or is that strictly a city?
I think that would be.
We can put
I
it
mean,
in
that's
our-
something
If
that
we
is
bought it,
smart. I
it's
mean,
new
I think that's a
land.
great idea. I think that's a great
Project.
solution.
It's new land,
You know,
Project.
Yeah.
we buy it from the school
Let's got
district.
our first good project.
There you go.
to be honest.
Andrew, do you have anything from Capital?
We had our last meeting about a month ago, Barry joined us. hopefully be there when we have, I haven't heard back from them, but we have our next meeting on the 1st.
Okay.
And let's see. I believe we should have our website up and running. That was something that kind of came out of some community input.
Oh, that's
Some folks said that, well, they don't have a way to access anything about Camper, they don't know what it is. And the solution of we have a Facebook page isn't really perfect because a lot of people aren't on Facebook. So, yeah, we put together a website and we're working with a guy to kind of build that out. I don't think it's open, I don't think it's up yet, but should be soon. I don't think I have anything else.
That's it. Jim, you have anything that you wanna?
I'll be brief, since basketball's on.
Gonzaga's over though.
And Gonzaga won.
Yeah.
But no, it's city budget time, and it's gonna be a very interesting budget process this year. Like all government agencies, whether it's the school district or cities or whatever, as everybody follows the news media, there's shortfalls. And so everybody's gonna have to sharpen their pencils in regards to the budgets and those this year. URA projects, URA is slated to end 25-26, so the beginning of 27, fiscal year 27. Then the city will see an additional potentially $1 million of revenue coming in from the urban renewal district. We've just completed, we're wrapping up the city council policies. I'm on that subcommittee for that and working with the city attorney on that. And so that's going to be going to council very soon. Urban renewal projects, Jerry's working on the bike trail that goes down to Fred Meyer's next to the Logging Road Bridge. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, Jim, I just found out today there was an opening, so we're gonna be bringing that to the April 2nd.
Meeting as well.
So we got really good prices on that. 238.
Really?
12 bidders,
15 bidders.
or 15 bidders. It came in, so. we're having a-
What is it?
It's the path that goes from the logging road path down to the sidewalk.
Okay,
Um,
Kind of by that storage area.
yeah, to the storage area. Did I
Okay.
send, can you bring up the rendering real quick?
oh, right,
You
right.
didn't send it to me.
Oh, I didn't?
No.
It's on the drive.
It's on the drive?
Yeah,
Where's
we
that?
actually have a rendering if you guys have a second to look at it, of what it's gonna look like.
Oh,
It's, it goes from there, Kara, all
Yeah.
the way up. It's 465 feet long or something, all 88 paved, 8-foot path with a 4-foot cyclone fence with a retaining wall.
wow.
It's really, really cool with real gradual slopes and
So
stuff.
people will be able to,
You could potentially get from the path down to Fred Meyer's without the kids running across the tracks. So right now, there's no way to get to Fred Meyer's from this north side of town. So if you
Without
have,
trespassing.
without trespassing,
Yeah.
I know.
And people tear holes through that fence.
They
Oh, yeah.
they cut the holes through, and so
They
they're
go
probably gonna
across the
still
river.
do it, yeah. You want me to send it again? You gonna see if she's.
And while they're working on that, the other urban renewal project is doing Second Street by Legion, by the American Legion. And then we should be wrapping up the projects on the urban renewal. The comprehensive plan continues. Planning is doing a great job with that, and Don Hardy's doing a tremendous job with that. It hasn't been updated since 1982, and so it takes some time. But Don is doing it. Don and crew are doing a great job with the comprehensive plan, talking about housing needs, talking about commercial growth, commercial area growth, and one of those items obviously is this 20-year plan that Don needs for that as well. And then we've been having discussions again about the hotel motel, and Jamie gave a nice presentation last night in regards to hotel motel. for Cammy and went over some options for the city council to talk about. The, just as an awareness thing, Rotary held their father-daughter dance, and we had, last year we had 325, and this year we had 600, over 600, for the father-daughter dance. You know, so those are the major things, but I really appreciate that you're gonna update this 20-year list, because and then, of course, the staff report to update the master plan that we're gonna have to update. Maybe we can work with the city attorney on that in regards to updating that master plan, so that there's no question about the pedal park and anything else that this group wants to add. That's it.
All right.
There's the path Jim's talking about, the two kind of renderings we have. That gives you an idea of what we're building.
That's cool.
It comes down on the storage side?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
And we put this in the packet, Jim, so we could bring it up at the urban renewal meeting.
Okay.
When you guys are approving this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's the urban renewal's a lot easier, it's one reading. So no waiting period, so we can just go to work on it, we can get, if they approve it.
So is this like, I mean, okay, I don't know how to say this. Is that area gonna be all cleaned up? Cause right now it's like a blackberry
Yes.
disaster.
We're gonna do like low growing grass that will just keep it, you know, and stuff, so that people can't be hiding in there and everything else. Right now, it's berry briar, scotch broom.
Yes,
everything.
yeah, it's a.
We got in there and tried to get in there, we took a bunch of those hazard dead trees out, and it just is so steep, we couldn't clear it. So
Yeah.
this project will clean that whole thing out.
That's what I mean, because it looks lovely, but it doesn't look like that right now.
No, it does not, no. No,
Just saying.
it's, yeah.
Well, that would be a huge improvement because it's right there on, you know.
And just being able to get from the north side of town, to be able to ride your bike to Fred Meyer's is kind of huge, just zip down, get the sidewalk and around.
Yeah.
Long overdue.
Okay. That it?
Good meeting, Barry.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Okay, Karen. Second, Kathy, Ray. All in favor, say aye. Okay, next meeting, April 15th, 6, well, you think it'll be longer? Cause it could be a long meeting. We'll start it at 5:30 again.
I'm good with that, you guys can do that.
And it's gonna be dedicated to the 40-year Parks SDC project development.
What's the next?
We'll start at
meeting?
5:30. I'll check that.
April
April 15th?
I'll get that.
5:30.
We'll do it, Jim. I'll send it out. Congratulations. Yeah, maybe Parks,
Congratulations.
pitching or what?
No, I was just